It's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline with me, Ahmad Hamdan. The top stories. No more mandatory COVID-19 testing requirement on visitors going to Langkawi. And companies earning lucrative profits, government has no plans to impose windfall tax. Good morning. The government has decided to drop the mandatory COVID-19 testing requirement on travellers going to Langkawi effective Tuesday. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said this follows the decision by the government to allow interstate travel, which began on Monday. In a statement, Khairi, however, stressed that the condition that all adult tourists must complete their COVID-19 vaccinations remains, and this requirement must be complied with. As a measure to strengthen public health care, he added that tourists are also encouraged to conduct COVID-19 self-tests before embarking on a trip to Langkawi. Khairi also said that this form of individual awareness helps to reduce the risk of infections to other tourists. He also pointed out that individuals who are confirmed to be COVID-19 positive and are in a period of isolation and observation, or individuals identified as close contacts to a positive case who are undergoing a quarantine and surveillance order are not allowed to travel. Those who experience symptoms such as fever, cough and cold are also advised to postpone their trip. Between the start of the Langkawi Travel Bubble pilot project on September 16th until October 10th, only 216 individuals out of 54,341 people tested positive for the virus. Only one traveller exhibited symptoms and tested positive for COVID-19 when in Langkawi, but no clusters were triggered. The Prime Minister on Tuesday tabled the 12th Malaysia Plan at the Dewan Negara with the aim of creating a prosperous, inclusive and sustainable Keluarga Malaysia. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the reforms introduced in the 12th MP covered 3 themes and 4 policy catalysts, as well as 14 drivers of change. Datuk Seri Ismail said the government is adopting the whole-of-nation approach, which involves the entire government machinery and agencies, private sector, academia, civil society organisations, as well as the people in the formulation and implementation of the plan.
Saya sedar keluarga Malaysia meletakkan harapan yang tinggi kepada kerajaan untuk menangani krisis berkembar ini. Kerajaan akan memperuntukkan 400 bilion ringgit bagi memenuhi keperluan RMK ke-12, terutamanya untuk membiayai projek pembangunan.
However, he said in the current limited financial situation, the focus of the government's expenditure for this year and next year was to protect lives and livelihoods, as well as to fulfill its commitment to existing projects. The Prime Minister said the government was also in the midst of finalising the Policy Implementation Plan, or PPD, under the coordination of the Economic Planning Unit to ensure the achievement of the targeted outcomes. He said the PPD, which is expected to be completed next month, would align the strategies and initiatives with key performance indicators, or KPIs, and the responsible ministries, as well as the coordinating and implementing agencies.
Satu jawatankuasa pemantau akan ditubuhkan dan akan dipengerusikan oleh saya sendiri untuk memantau pelaksanaan RMK12 dengan rapi. Saya akan mempengerusikan mesyuarat jawatankuasa pemantauan yang pertama pada pertengahan bulan November ini.
The Prime Minister added that feedback from all sectors on the proposed implementation of the 12 MP policies and strategies was also welcomed. He also gave assurance that all strategies and initiatives under the 12 MP would be implemented responsibly with integrity. The 12 MP was tabled at the Dewan Rakyat on September 27th and passed last Thursday after being debated by 106 lawmakers. The document, which contains the country's 5-year development plan, will have to be debated again before it can be passed by the Senate. The Dewan Rakyat was told that the government has no plans to impose a windfall tax on companies generating large profits for now. First Deputy Finance Minister Muhammad Shahar Abdullah explained that although some manufacturers have raked in billions of ringgit in profits thanks to a surge in demand for their products due to COVID-19, these companies have also made contributions up to 400 million ringgit to help the government combat the pandemic.
Tapi buat masa sekarang, kerajaan tidak bercadang untuk mengenakan levy keuntungan luar biasa ke atas produk sarung tangan getah mahupun kepada lain-lain perniagaan yang menjana keuntungan berganda semasa krisis kesihatan melanda dunia. Sungguh pun tidak dikenakan levy, industri pengeluaran sarung tangan getah turut menyumbang spillover effect kepada ekonomi negara dari segi cukai langsung, cukai tidak langsung.
Shahar added that the huge profits have also allowed these companies to expand their operations, which in turn create more jobs. He said the contributions made by these companies also enable the government to support the public healthcare sector, including purchasing medical equipment and medicines, among others. Shahar revealed this when wrapping up his ministerial replies on the Windfall Profit Levy Amendment Bill 2020 on Tuesday. The bill was passed unanimously via voice vote. Also at the Dewan Rakyat, Senior Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof said the government is looking at improving stretches of the East Coast Expressway, or LPT, that were inundated during the 2014 and recent 2021 floods. He said the Malaysian Highway Authority, MHA, has already submitted its report and recommendation to address the situation. Datuk Seri Fadilah said the short-term solution during the floods include continuous traffic management and clearing the highway of rubbish and debris when the water recedes before reopening the highway to ensure it is safe for the public. He added authorities have also used unmanned aerial vehicles to monitor catchment areas close to the highway.
Pihak Lembaga Lebuh Raya telah mengemukakan laporan terperinci dan juga memohon peruntukan dalam rolling plan yang kedua Rancangan Malaysia ke-12 bagi cadangan naik taraf aras Lebuh Raya Pantai Timur 1 di beberapa lokasi yang ditenggelami banjir seperti kilometer 84.6 hingga 84.7, kilometer 113, kilometer 115 dan kilometer 126.3.
The senior minister stressed that even though the government had conducted a study on the highway elevation before it was constructed, the unpredictable weather stemming from climate change has thrown their calculations off course. Currently, Putrajaya is studying the proposal and is considering all aspects, including the technical aspects of the work as well as the cost. The expressway was developed in two phases, with the first phase from Karak to Jabor being completed in 2004 and the second phase from Jabor to Kuala Terengganu was completed in 2015. The Dewan Rakyat also passed a motion on the appointment of Bagan Member of Parliament, Lim Guan Eng, as a member of the Select Committee for the 14th Parliament. The motion, which was read out by Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Seri Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, in accordance with Standing Order 76, was approved with a majority vote by members of the House.
Saya mohon mencadangkan mengikut peruntukan Peraturan Mesyuarat 76, Peraturan Majlis Mesyuarat Dewan Rakyat, saya mohon mencadangkan supaya Ahli Parlimen Yang Berhormat Tuan Lim Guan Eng, Ahli Parlimen Bagan, dilantik sebagai Ahli Jawatankuasa Pemilih di bawah Peraturan Mesyuarat 76 untuk tempoh Parlimen ke-14 bagi menggantikan Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Hamzah bin Zainuddin, Ahli Parlimen Larut. Tuan Yang Tua, saya mohon mencadangkan.
The other five members of the Select Committee are Senior International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali, Senior Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof, Bagan Datuk MP Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, Marang MP Datuk Seri Abdul Hadi Awang and Opposition Leader Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Malaysia is hoping for a clear consensus among Southeast Asian nations on the new Indo-Pacific Security Partnership among Australia, the US and Britain. Senior Defence Minister Datuk Seri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein said on Tuesday that the alliance known as AUKUS, announced last month, will see Australia acquiring technology to deploy nuclear-powered submarines as part of an agreement intended to respond to growing Chinese power, especially in the strategically important South China Sea. Datuk Seri Hishamuddin told Parliament on Tuesday a meeting with his counterparts from ASEAN scheduled for next month will present an opportunity for the bloc to agree on a shared response to AUKUS. He said the plan has divided countries in Southeast Asia, with Indonesia and Malaysia warning that it could lead to an arms race among rival superpowers in the region, while the Philippines, a US defence ally, has backed the pact.
Saya harap bahawa apa yang diwujudkan di antara Malaysia dengan negara-negara berkenaan secara dua hala dapat membantu kita meniti cara bagaimana dapat mengimbangi kuasa-kuasa besar di rantau kita.
China has said that the AUKUS plan risks severely damaging regional peace and stability. The US, however, said the alliance poses no threat to Indo-Pacific security and is not aimed at any one country. The Attorney General's Chambers AGC found that there were other offences that required further investigation in the case of the missing $6.94 million based on the investigation papers submitted by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC). In a statement on Tuesday, the AGC said they had carried out an in-depth study on the investigation papers, which was submitted by the MACC last September 28th, and the investigation papers have been returned to the relevant enforcement agencies for further action. On September 23rd, the media reported that the police will call 3 MACC senior officers who were previously remanded for 6 days to facilitate the investigation into the missing cash. Bukit Aman CID Chief Datuk Seri Abdul Jalil Hassan said they would also call the owner of the money, former Director General of Malaysian External Intelligence Organisation, Datuk Hassanah Abdul Hamid, to assist in the probe. Still to come on Nightline, Zahid, a puppet master of Yayasan Akal Budi's board. Welcome back. A total of 11 food, beverage and package delivery workers using motorcycles or P-hailing riders were involved in fatal accidents in the first 8 months of this year. Selangor Road Transport Department Director Nazli Mat Taib said during the same period, 12 cases involving serious injuries and 65 cases of minor injuries were also recorded involving workers in the sector. He also said that the number of accidents is worrying, coupled with the complaints received by RTD from the public involving P-hailing riders. Due to this, the agency has launched an enforcement operation dubbed Op Merah from last Friday to November 7th to raise awareness on road safety and ethical driving, as well as the importance of proper vehicle maintenance among P-hailing riders. Since the operation began last Friday, a total of 321 summonses have been issued by the Selangor RTD involving various offences including non-compliance with traffic lights and not having a valid driving licence. The Board of Trustees of Yayasan Akal Budi were mere puppets who were controlled by Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, and their appointments were just to make up the numbers in that foundation. According to Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Raja Rosela Rajatoran, the former Deputy Prime Minister had complete control over Yayasan Akal Budi and used the charitable foundation for his own benefit. In her submission at the end of the prosecution's case, Datuk Raja Rosela said that all the Board of Trustees members did not make any single contribution and all instructions came from the UMNO President. She added as Datuk Sri Zahid was the sole authorised signatory of Yayasan Akal Budi's cheques, he was also in the position to make use of the trust funds according to his whims and fancies. Datuk Raja Rosela further submitted that on April 4, 2012, the accused made himself the sole signatory for the charitable foundation's bank account, which took effect on June 20, 2013, as indicated in the signature maintenance form. The Bagan Datuk Member of Parliament is facing 47 charges, 12 for criminal breach of trust, 8 for corruption and 27 for money laundering, involving tens of millions of ringgit belonging to Yayasan Akal Budi. The hearing of the submission before Justice Datuk Colin Lawrence Aquera continues on Wednesday. In Johor, a married couple pleaded not guilty at the Johor Bahru Sessions Court on Tuesday to a charge of abusing two brothers who were placed under their care. R. Kartik and B. Darga Devi, aged 32 and 25 respectively, claimed trial after the charges were read to them before Judge Wan Muhammad Norisham Wan Yaakob, who sat November 24th for re-mention of the case. It was alleged the couple abused an 11-year-old boy and his brother, aged 7, by hitting them with a cane and a mop stick, placing a hot knife on their hands, burning cigarettes on the children's body, as well as banging the victim's head against a wall. The offences were allegedly committed at the Selesa Jaya flat near Bandar Selesa Jaya in Iskandar Putri between June and September this year. The court fixed bail at 30,000 and 15,000 ringgit in two sureties for Kartik and his wife, respectively, and report themselves to the nearest police station every 2 weeks. The offence under the Child Act provides for imprisonment up to 10 years or a 20,000 ringgit fine or both if found guilty. Elsewhere in Perak, a drama actor along with a director and an assistant director pleaded guilty at the Kuala Kangsar Magistrates Court to charges of possessing cannabis and methamphetamine. 29-year-old Muhammad Nizam Muhammad Zaidi, 49-year-old Muhammad Latif Zami and 43-year-old Saiful Zaidrin Ismail made the plea before Magistrate Muhammad Shazmi Zamhari. They committed the offence at a house in Taman Chandan Putri on October 10. The charge under the Dangerous Drugs Act carries a fine not exceeding 100,000 ringgit or imprisonment for a maximum of 5 years or both if convicted. The trio were granted bail between 2,600 and 3,200 ringgit by the magistrate, who then set December 1st for re-mention of the case, pending a chemical report before sentencing. COVID response, one of the UK's worst ever public health failures. Details when we return. Welcome back. A damning parliamentary report has found the United Kingdom government's early response to COVID-19 and the delay in imposing a lockdown early last year as one of the most important public health failures in the country's history and had cost thousands of lives. In a 151-page report published on Tuesday, it was said that the UK made a serious error in adopting a fatalistic approach to stop the spread of the virus. While the country's top emergency decision-making body met for the first time about COVID-19 on January 4, 2020, the legislature said a lockdown was not imposed until March 23 of that year, and the gradual and incremental approach to non-pharmaceutical interventions had cost lives. Decisions on lockdowns and social distancing during the early weeks of the pandemic and the advice that led to them was also ranked as one of the most important public health failures the United Kingdom has ever experienced. The review, it said, was based on hours of testimony from more than 50 witnesses, including advisors on government policy, health and science. Thailand will lift its quarantine requirements for fully vaccinated tourists from low-risk countries who visit the country by air from November 1st onwards. In a televised address to the nation on Monday, Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha said that he had ordered the Centre for COVID-19 Situation Administration and the Ministry of Public Health to jointly consider it within this week. According to the Prime Minister, there are at least 10 countries on the list, including China, Germany, Singapore, the United Kingdom and the United States, and more countries will be added to the list by December 1st. Travellers upon arriving in Thailand will only need to prove that they are free from COVID-19 with a PCR test result obtained before leaving the country of origin, and there will be another COVID-19 test when they reach Thailand. North Korea's leader has vowed to build an invincible military in the face of what it says are hostile policies from the United States. Speaking during a rare defense exhibition in Pyongyang, Kim Jong-un said that the country's weapons development was for self-defense and not to start a war. Addressing the military build-up in the south, Kim added that North Korea did not want to fight its neighbor. Kim, surrounded by an array of military hardware, including tanks, also accused the U.S. of stoking tensions between North and South Korea. The U.S., under President Joe Biden, has repeatedly said it is willing to talk to North Korea but has demanded Pyongyang give up nuclear weapons before sanctions can be eased. North Korea has so far refused. Muqtada al-Sadr claimed victory in Iraq's parliamentary election, increasing his bloc's tally of seats from the previous polls in 2018, when it also won most votes, and handing the warlord-turned-cleric more influence over government formation. Preliminary results showed Sadr's bloc, helped by a low turnout, took 73 of the 329 available seats, up from 54 in 2018's polls. Speaking after the results came through, Sadr said the next government will prioritize Iraq's interests, and from now on, the government or the parties will not govern the money. Choices will be made by the people, and finally, the oil of the people will be for the people. Sadr has long painted himself as a champion of reform and graft busting, although his critics say his allies in the Iraqi civil service have been equally as guilty of corruption. Sports now. Tennis, the BNP Paribas Open. Top-seeded Daniil Medvedev advanced to the last 16 after defeating Filip Krajinovic in straight sets. Medvedev continued his form from the Grand Slam and played confidently despite challenging weather conditions. The US Open champion took the first set 6-2. Krajinovic tried to provide some fights in the second set, but Medvedev remained calm and sealed a 7-6 win. The Russian is to play 23rd seed Grigor Dimitrov on Thursday. In another match, Tommy Paul made the last 16 with an upset to 4th seed Andrei Rublev in 3 sets. The 24-year-old knocked off the Russian 6-4, 3-6, 7-5 on Monday on Stadium 4 at a chilly night, achieving the milestone win in his career. Rublev is the highest seed to fall on the men's side thus far at Indian Wells. Russian freediver Alexei Bolchanov set a world record after he reached depths of over 100 meters in the Bahamas. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at Bolchanov as he plunges 118 meters under constant weight bifids at the Vertical Blue 2021 event held in July. The diver managed to hold his breath for 4 minutes and 38 seconds during his attempt. With that, I'm Ahmad Hamdan. Thank you for watching and stay safe.